Right, we're taking the Humber into work today because the van is at work because it's failed its MOT, and I'll talk more on that when we get there. So, to work. It's a cold morning, lots of frost. Let's see what we got. Electronic ignition. And when we get to work, we're going to service it because it has on the clock 85,999 miles. It's due a service at 86. So by the time we get to work, it'll be a couple of miles overdue.
Yeah.
So for today's job, we will need a large tray to catch the oil in, some fresh oil, 1550, 4 correctly gacked spark plugs, oil filter, and new sump plug washer. Plus mystery guest item. Right, no need to do the air filter because it's a K&M one and it's got miles and miles and miles on it before it needs doing. Fuel filter I can see inside and that looks alright. Batteries sealed for life. So we check the oil on it. Second. And I've let it run really low because I can't see the point in cleaning out loads of oil or wasting loads of oil. It looks pretty clean. That is due to a unique feature on the Roots engine. It's always got plenty of clean oil in it because it keeps pouring out all over the place. So you keep filling it up with fresh. And there's one other problem I will show you. Come on round. Mystery guest item is for spark plug wells. Keep filling up with oil because it keeps leaking out the rocker cover. And you can see I've put some silicone on there in the past. I've tried cork gaskets and I've tried paper gaskets, but it always seems to leak, and they always did. So ta-da! Fancy silicone gasket with the little lippy edge on it as well. So it goes inside the rocker cover proper. This is supposed to be a special hardened silicone. It wasn't bloody cheap. It was quite expensive for what it is, but we're going to see if it's going to work. The other thing I'm going to do is there's an ongoing experiment with the spark plugs. I've got 3 of one type of plug and 1 of a different heat range, all the same make but a different heat range. I was having trouble in the summer when I was switching it off, the engine would carry on running, dieseling almost as it were. So I'm going to try a different spark plug heat range, possibly, but when I take these plugs out, because one is a different heat range, I can compare them and see if it's made a difference. So the first thing to do then, take the dipstick out. Trusty oil extractor in the dipstick hole. And start pumping it out. I'm not going to pump it all out. I want to take the sump plug out and let the whoosh of oil carry any sludge in the bottom of the sump. I have fitted a magnetic sump plug in it. So when I get it out, I'll have a look at that. So catch you up in a minute. Right, first job, get the sump plug out, let it drain while I do all the rest of the work on it so as much comes out. So here's a magnetic sump plug. Let's see if it's kept, oh it has, look. It's picked up quite a bit of, so it does work. They are worth fitting. God knows where all that's come from. Probably my rocker arms because they are ever so noisy. I'm not going to bother adjusting them today because you adjust them and 100 miles later they're rattling like crazy. But there you go, look, magnetic sump plug, worth every penny, because that would have been rattling around inside the engine. So that was worth doing. I'll get that cleaned off, new sump plug on it. That'll be the last job I do, is to put that in just before I put the oil in. Right, I'll continue. Old oil filter out, new one ready to go in. Same part number, but even so I always physically check And that says 3/4 on there, that's 3/4 on there, that's still got the seal on it. So we'll take that off. Now, I'm old fashioned, and because I work in a peculiar industry, I always like to prime my oil filters. Not a lot, just get the element wet with oil. Give that a few seconds. Soak in. Smear of oil on the ring, and it's ready to go in. Spark plugs, T. Right, I've put in the NGK site says for the Sceptre Mark II and Mark III BP6ES, but I put an R in, I put a resistor one in. So this one is that's a 6, and I tried with just one 7 in there. I think if you look at it, the 7 looks like it's got a few more deposits on it, and it looks like it's run a darn sight hotter. So I'm going back to the 6s. So I've got some of those, and they need gapping at 32 thou, or for the continentally minded of us, 0.8 of a millimetre. So T, I did see some biscuits somewhere, probably not. No, okay then. So I'm going to put the plugs in just a minute. I'm going to have to let the engine cool down though. Whether it's an old wives' tale or not, but in the lawnmower business they say never put a cold plug into a hot engine with an aluminium head on it. Theory being that as the aluminium cools, it shrinks and it tightens the plug down a lot harder. So let the engine cool. Oh, another thing to do, I don't know if these plugs do it or not. Yes, this little screw-on terminal, always put it in the spark plug spanner the wrong way around and put something on that and tighten that off, because if that ever comes off, when you plug the HT lead off, that comes off with it and you've got a major chore then trying to get it back out again. So plugs is the next job after T. Right, let's put the silicone gasket on. It says here, it says stopping classic leaks 1 drip at a time. Let's have a look and see if this is going to work. So it's got the little lips on it, look, to retain the cover. Oh, don't get it caught in any of the studs or anything though, otherwise you're going to rip it and you're going to be out of pocket. Right, it fits. Why am I surprised? I shouldn't be surprised, should I? I shouldn't say, oh my god, it fits. Of course it should fit. Look at that. Right, okay then. Well, I'll put the rocker cover on and see how we get on. Sump plug back in, spark plugs in, filled up with oil, sprayed some lubricant around a few bits and pieces. What about the back axle and the steering box, you say? I haven't got any oil. So, let's give it a whirl. Interesting to note the oil pressure gauge. How long will it take before it registers? Because of course, remember, the filter is empty. Here we go. More reluctant, there we go. And look, petrol as well. That's a treat. Right, so run it for a few seconds, stop it, check for leaks, and that's the end of that. See you in another film.